Okay, hello everyone. And now it's been a pretty good week, I'd say, because everything has been pretty much going according to our targeting. Let's start off with this week's wrap up let's do this. Let me put myself out of the way to see how the week went. Okay, so this was 17th to 21st of November. Remember, we had all the swing days in advance, all the trade hours in advance. Everything was just provided in advance for you. This week I will be posting December. I'm working on December. I finished the first 2 weeks, so afterwards I'm going to add next week the full month of December, so you'll have that ongoing as well. So swing days, let's take a look at those. Wednesday and Friday for gold, euro dollar Monday or Tuesday, and then we had Friday. Bitcoin we had Thursday, SP 500 Monday and Thursday, and Thursday or Friday. Dow Jones Monday and Thursday or Friday. Nasdaq Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So let's see how all that panned out. First of all, let's start off with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin came exactly to the place where I've been talking about for weeks, right? So I talked about those levels for weeks, and I said we will get into here. As you can see, we got into here, and I did say this should probably break and push to the downside, and that's exactly what happened. So I can now get rid of this. So as you can see, step by step, we're getting to those targets, and we still have a bit more room to go actually, but it's not going to go straight down. As you can see, well, it might go straight down, but let's see. Previously it had those downfalls like that, and that's fine for us. Okay, as you can see, I don't really mind as long as we're hitting those targets. And let's see, there was another big crash earlier on, wasn't there? Here we are. Okay, so another big crash. And remember, we knew when the market was going to start going up as well, around there. Okay, it was January 2023. If you watch my videos from then, you would have been in the game as well, going all the way up. And now you should have been coming all the way down, as you can see, into that zone. Now this zone, as you can see, is pretty much done here. It's that bar there, and the market stop sweeped it. Now this is Friday. On this, I don't have Saturday or Sunday, but let's take a look. This is Saturday, and today, as you can see, we're on a Sunday. Now this zone, okay, this zone, so as you can see on my trading view as well, I had ages ago, all of these levels had ages ago. All we had to do to these were to add the swing days. Let's do this, the swing days, and just push it down. Okay, and that's basically it. All right, so that Thursday there. Now look at Thursday. It didn't come quite close to here. It did go into the rectangle, but it didn't come into that bar. And then on Friday it certainly did that, and we've been mucking around, as you can see, on Saturday in here, Sunday market pushing up. So it's all good. If you take a look at next week, okay, you'll see that you still have a bit of time for this to kind of be cooking. All right, so it's all fine. Now this can still push to the downside. Okay, on the weekly, as you can see, we still have targets, and you see how it bounced off on the weekly here on the price. Okay, 81,750, just slightly lower than 81,750. It did 85.24, and here we had 30, and that 30 was 82,865. Okay, so it still has a bit of room it can come into on the weekly, as you can see here. All right, so we still can push a little bit more to the downside, and we'd like to see it on the weekly coming further down. Okay, I know it's a bit way down, but you know, they always say your pricing is like too far out, it's never going to go that far, and so on. Yeah, you know, and then all of a sudden they see it comes into my direction. Obviously it doesn't go in straight lines. Like I said, we should bounce back, and then, you know, it's going to be in waves, right? But at the end of the day, we know where we could be going, and if the swing days are up, until we have a change in trend, we could still be selling to the downside. So accordingly, as you can see, we are there. So then you have to wait for the next swing days to happen. So that Thursday didn't swing, but it came to the target on Thursday, Friday, as you can see, and according to that, Sunday we got a bit of buying, which is all fine. See, as you can see, the market sold from that zone which I marked in before. So if we do go up a little bit more next week, we do have room to come up, and then we can sell off again and see how that pans out. On the monthly as well, we've got room to come into 41, which is 63,463. Okay, and I know some people are saying that's crazy, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying. All right, so even all the way into there. So I don't mind seeing the market coming down. It'll be a good opportunity to go back in long again. A lot of people said to me it won't go below 100. I said it will. And remember, when the price was down here, I said this will highly likely break. So playing to the downside is not a bad idea at all on a swing day. And that was a swing day. Nice and easy, right? So let's take a look at the others. What did I have? Let's start with gold. Wednesday, Friday, gold. So that's your Friday. Now remember, I took us off the MetaTrader 4 because MetaTrader 4 is giving me dramas. Let's see how it works. See, I've separated all of them instead of having, I used to have Euro, Dollar, Gold, SP 500 on one, profile. But I changed that because it was just like, giving me dramas. It was like really slowing me down because of the PST indicator, actually, because it's like measuring time and price together. Now with gold, remember we had 64 downwards, 3981. So market going into 3981 was on the cards there. That's still a level, but next week, okay, it's going to be slightly higher. Okay, but gold may also have a bit of a potential to come down, which I don't mind seeing as well. As you can see, 47 was what the market had, 4,016 on a Friday. And look where the market bought, just shy of 4,016. If I take a look at the trading hours on Friday, let's take a look at the trading hours, see what happened. I don't work on Fridays, but let's put it this way. $7 should have a drive to push to 11:30 and 2:30. Now remember, the platform is an hour behind, so that's going to be 6 a.m. Let's see if I got anything at 6 a.m. This is 6 a.m. So the market has drive to push into 11:30, which is going to be 10:30 on the platform. And that's your 10:30, the market pushing into 10:30, then to 2:30, which is 1:30 on the platform, and that's your 1:30 right there. So the market did have a bit of a drive to push into 1:30, which is 2:30 p.m. my time. And then I've said it's a little tricky from 3:55 to 4:50, which is going to be 2:55 to 3:50. Okay, so once the market turns around here, the next hours on the platform is going to be 2:55, which is there, and 3:50, which is going to be there. Okay, so this place is a little tricky. As you can see, it was a little tricky here afterwards. Mucked around here a little bit. But if it finds direction, target is initially 6:40 my time. It's going to be 5:40. 5:40. And that's your 5:40 bar. So market comes down. Okay. Then from here, it can turn or push to 10:50. So it can turn and push to 10:50, which is 9:50. And this is your 9:50 right there. Okay, so I don't know what other explanation this needs. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty damn neat. Market pushing down, turning around, coming here. It's a little tricky. If it turns again here, it's going there for a target, and then bang, sliding down. So it's all good. So that's gold. Now, those are the hours for Friday, and they're going to be same for everything. So all you have to do is match it to your pricing, right? So if I've got hours for Friday, it doesn't matter what you're trading. Those are your hours for Friday, but you got to match it to price. Okay, this is why PSD pricing for me is really important, because I can work off the daily price. If the daily price is like pretty close, as you can see to there, I can say, well, okay, if we're going to turn around, I can look for a U-turn, okay, and see how that pans out and so on. And if I know there's a tricky situation in advance, if I get into a trade, I obviously want to take profit and not hope for the best, because we've got timing and we know what we're doing at what time. So that's gold. The swing days for gold were Wednesday, Friday. So that's your Wednesday, that's your Friday. So from a Wednesday high, Friday low. Remember, on Wednesday from the low I bought as well, and that was a profitable trade too. I think that was on the video as well. And from a Wednesday high, market comes into a Friday low and buys on a Friday low, which is also fine. Okay, so we should still come down a little bit, I'm thinking, possibly, and into this bar maybe to fill in some gap. That gap is filled already, but maybe lower. We'll see how next week goes. Okay, and on the weekly, on the weekly we can still be going to the upside. I don't mind buying next week as well on a swing day. Your swing day, you already know the swing days anyway. For next week, it's all on the website. Let's take a look at euro dollar. What did I say for the euro dollar? Monday or Tuesday, we're going to have a swing day, and Friday. So if Monday or Tuesday the market turns, it should head into Friday. So you could be kind of like selling off into Friday as such. So let's do this. Let's first of all come to the daily. Here we are, Monday or Tuesday, coming all the way into Friday, and this was the target zone. Right, so nothing too dramatic. All is good on the euro dollar front. Okay, and that's basically it. Okay, so market Monday or Tuesday selling off. I did say you could sell off here. The only thing that needed to be a little bit careful was because we were in the mid zone, but I did say we should close, come into this zone. Let me get rid of that, and that's it. You are right in the zone. Okay, and that's all honky-dory. On the weekly, let's see. On the weekly, we had 44, 1470. 1470 is down here, as you can see, 1470. So it's pretty close, I guess. But it did come into that bar, all right? So once we get into the target zone, we're pretty much on top of our game. It still might touch 1470 zone next week. Next week is going to be, next week you're going to also have to wait for those swing hours as well. All right, swing days as well. So it's nice and easy. Okay, market coming down. It was already on our schedule to come down. Good. So on the hours as well, all you have to do, guys, you can just check the hours here. Like I said, let me just scroll down so you can stop the video and make note of them. These are the trading hours for Monday, as you can see. Tuesday here, Wednesday here, Thursday here, right, that's your Thursday, and Friday is here. Okay, and that's it. So let's check out the indices. SP 500. Now the good thing about knowing swing days is really you just know the day you should focus on. A swing day can be also a breakout day. Okay, so sometimes if there is a target to the upside or the downside, like on Bitcoin, and if Thursday is a swing day, you need to understand why that could be a breakout day. So if there's a target on the downside, you can still sell. But I always say don't sell at the lower end. So even if you're going to sell for a breakout at the lows, you've got to wait for an intraday pull up to sell off. Okay. Now then, US 500 swing days, Monday, and then we had Thursday, or Friday. So let's take a look. This is the daily. Thursday, Friday, beautiful. Market coming straight into the zone. Thank you very much. That's your Thursday and your Friday. You can, and then we had what, Monday? Yeah, Monday. So Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, beautiful. Monday coming into Thursday. Market buying on a Friday. Looks like a great way to trade. All right, so if you're trading indices, I'm more of a gold guy myself. But there you go. All right, so, oh, come on. There you go. Let's get rid of these two lines because I marked them in before. So you can see market coming. Also, if you check out your previous week, which is going to be the week of the 10th of November, SP 500 at a Monday, which was and a Wednesday. So Monday, that was your Monday. Remember, we went up on a Monday, down on a Wednesday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wow. Because I changed the platform, you can see why. All right, so that's your Monday. Remember, we went up with the indices last week. Up until Wednesday. That's your Wednesday. Market selling off into your Friday. All right, and then this week, Monday selling off into your Thursday, Friday. Okay, so nice and easy, as you can see there. Okay, so that was that. What about Dow Jones? All of them, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, SP 500, they had Monday, but let's check it out anyway. As you can see, the arrows are gone here. I'm really pissed off with that because I had to separate all the profiles and they got lost because I had to flip the templates again. Okay, so whatever. Dow Jones. Either Monday, again, Monday and a Thursday or Friday. So it should probably be the same kind of thing. You can see it's a little slow on my MT4, but on another MT4, I've got a friend using it in London. And, you know, it's working pretty good like magic, but there you go. All right, so I already marked that in before. As you can see there, that's your Thursday or Friday. Thursday, Friday. Okay, so market going long on a Friday is just nice and easy. As you can see, this is the wick. So when we have a big wick, you got to be there. All right, and that's how it is. But that's the cause. All right, and that's the wick. If you have a wick, just remember from technical analysis and you'll be fine. Okay, and then we've got what? Monday. That's your Monday. All right, so market to the upside, breaking into Thursday, Friday, doing the goodbye kiss. Okay, like I'm marking all the time, and so on. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Now, with also the indices, like I said, you can always put the hours and see how that panned out as well. In fact, let's check out NASDAQ, how the hours panned out for the days. So NASDAQ had Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So let's check it out. Let's check out the hours for those days as well. See if we were spot on or not. Because sometimes we're going from, summertime to winter, there's a bit of a slippage on the hours. But that's how it is. Now we had Monday, Wednesday, then we've got a Friday on the downside. So that Friday, which is pretty much there, okay? Monday, Wednesday, Friday is there. Okay, let's check out the hours for Monday, let's say. In fact, let me just do my templates. I'll get rid of all the 1 hour chart. I'll get rid of all the white lines, so we'll do fresh. But remember, whenever I do an analysis, we're always doing, just a second. All right, so the white lines, as you know, they're the PST levels, which I get from the daily, the weekly, or sometimes the monthly as well. So let's not be confused with that. I'm just going to refresh the template, and you can see it's a little slow, but it's because of the mathematical calculations it's doing on my computer. So a bit of a drama. In fact, I'm going to pause the video and just wait for it to come up. All right, I'm not going to wait for that too long. I'm going to go into MT5. We'll check it out from here. As you can see, I've got a bit of a different template here because I don't have that PST indicator calculation done for the MT5, but it's not a problem. If you took technical analysis from me, you know where your pricing should be in any case without any indicators, right? So let's take a look. I've got all the indices here, but I'll just go with this NASDAQ. Remember, we had Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if I was to trade on the swing days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's see what would have happened. Okay. Now this platform is also an hour behind. Okay. So let's see. Monday we had, what did I say? We had Asia session needs care 315, which is going to be 215 here. But we're probably going to trade at the, at the London or New York session. With the indices, I always say New York session is a better option, but if you're in the London session, what can you do? So then we've got 5 and 8, which is going to be 4 and 7. Okay, so that's going to be your 4 o'clock is there, and then you're going to have your 7 o'clock. Now you might say, but there are a lot of hours here. Yeah, sometimes, but what do you have to do? You've got to match it to your pricing. Okay, so you got to do your technical analysis. So on the daily, whatever, you should be doing your daily, weekly technical analysis and timing. Now, if you're in New York, what do we have in New York? A New York pre-trade session. We had 11:55 London, which is 10:55 here. And this is your London 10:55. Ta-da. Okay, so London really slapping it down. And then New York pre-trade 225, 325, which is 125. 125. 125 here. 125 is right there. And also I had 225 on the platform. 220, oh come on. 225 on the platform is right there. So New York pre-trade session also slapping it down. Okay. This is a zone, common zone with London. So markets in there. And I said if we have direction, okay, if we have direction, you got to also read some comments here, right? You see, this is Monday, right? If we have direction from here, target is closing. So if we have direction, market coming down, so target is closing. So we're pretty much on that low side. I would have had a pricing level for this. If I did, you would have been close pretty much to it or on top of it. I don't know. We'll have to see. Let me just check if that. Oh, here we are on the MetaTrader 4. Okay, so as you can see, I would have marked in prices, would have marked in levels like on this one. So if you're selling on a Monday, you know you're going to be dipping into the wick here and so on. All right. Also, we have PST prices as well on the weekly. See on the weekly as well, market how it's coming right onto those PST levels. This is exactly where we want to be seeing them. So if you're going to sell them, you got prices already, and they should be like heading into those directions. So even if the timing is slightly off, when you get to a PST price, you know you want to be taking profit, okay? Because those PST levels are pretty good. Wednesday, let's take a look at the Wednesday hours, because Wednesday was also a swing day. Now to the upside, as you can see, market going into Thursday high there. Let's do this. And let me put the hours for that. Wednesday we had, let's start with 10 past 4, which is going to be 10 past 3 here. 10 past 3 there. But this is Asia session. Remember, Asia session and the indices aren't really a great match. 8.25 is 7.25, which is there. That's just 7.30 there. 7.25 bar is going to be there. So market chucking up pretty much UE around the same place. And then I've got, now, from here, the market can move to 8.25. If it matches your technical price, it can take us to 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock is going to be 10 o'clock here. So that took us to 10 o'clock, which is there. All right. Expect surprises until 250 to 325, which is going to be 150. This is your 150. So the market shoots up into 150 to 225 on the platform. That's your 225 on the platform. So a bit of a surprise going into all the way there, nicely moving up. The market can trade here. Next hours are 10 past 7. Market trading here. 10 past 7 is going to be 10 past 6 on the platform, which is here. All right, now this is in the middle of nowhere. There's no trade to do here. Why? Because by this time, we're in the middle of nowhere. Now, if you bought here, you took profit or you covered your trade, you still would have had some room to the upside, okay? But Wednesday, if you take a look, the best way to go was to the upside. So the only thing you should have been doing on Wednesday is buying when the market was down, because the market was down, so you want to buy a low to go up, okay? What you don't want to be doing is mucking around on the upper end trying to buy. So the only thing you could probably do was to buy around here, or if you bought later on, let me see, did I give any other answer? I gave the closing, but the closing was high, okay? And then we had Thursday. So Wednesday, if you bought the lows, like I said, that would have taken you into Thursday. And the hours for Thursday were, let's put them in there. Asia session, once again, nothing really to talk about. In fact, I'll just do London and New York. 11:15 my time, 11:30 my time, 11:50. That's your 11:50 to, sorry, 11:15 to 11:30. 11:15. 11:30 is there. So the market chucking a UE from here. Okay. And then if there is news, you need to set up, I've said at 255 to 330. That's 155. 155 is going to be here. 155 to 330, which is 230, is going to be right there. So news, market going to the upside. Okay. It should take prices to 645, which is 545 on the platform. This is your 545 on the platform. And then to closing 9 o'clock. Okay, so if you read it, you should be okay. Okay. All right, see here, this is Thursday, right? So these are all the hours I'm marking. Remember, once again, the platform is 1 hour behind. 6:45 is your 5:45. I said it should take prices to 6:45 and then further to 9 o'clock. Where's 9 o'clock? It's going to be 8 on the platform. Wow, that is like 8 o'clock there, and the closing is there. All right, so if you're reading between the lines, you should be fine. Okay. And that's that. And then what do we have? Did we have a Friday for NASDAQ? Yeah, we had a Friday for NASDAQ. Let's see the hours for Friday. So Friday, what do you want to do? Well, after the sell-off, market's really down. So on Friday, you'd want to be buying the lows where, in the rectangles, obviously, that we marked. So this got broken, so you just delete that one, which is fine. Okay. Remember, that wick worked on a Wednesday buying the low. Then it broke down. So now we're here. Friday, swing day, market's down. Want to buy a low. Fine. What time? So let's again check out London. So 11:30 my time is going to be about 10:30 my time. So 11:30 is going to be 10:30 on the platform. That's your 10:30 there. So nothing really to do here. If you bought here, you would have been stopped out. Okay, that's fair enough. And then at 2:30, then 2:30 is 1:30 on the platform. 1:30. If you bought here, you needed to keep the gap in mind according to technical analysis. Okay, and I said it's a little tricky from 355 to 450. So that's going to be 255 to 350. 350 is there. And 255 on the platform is going to be, I guess, there. All right, so this zone a little tricky. If it finds direction, target is initially 640, which should be 540, which is right here. 540 making a low. From there, it can turn and push to 1050, which is 950 on the platform. And I do believe that is your 950 bar, ladies and gentlemen. Nice and easy. All right, it's a little tricky, obviously. Okay, sometimes, that if you entered there, that could get stopped out. That's London. But in New York, with the US indices, I always say, guys, check out New York as well. Be careful. If the price is right in London, fine. But if it's just sitting there, it's an iffy. So what are you going to do? Use a smaller lot size if you want to trade it. Okay, sometimes it happens to me as well. If it's in the middle and I'm thinking this is going to go one way or another, because that's a mid price. So the market will want to whipsaw it a little bit, take both sides out and then move. So when things like that happen, it can get a little tricky. But the beautiful thing is your stop losses should be really tight, because we've got time and price. So if you get it wrong, you shouldn't be in a trade with a big stop loss at all. All right, so I hope that makes sense. And that's basically it, guys. This week I'll work on the December. I already finished it up to, let me see. I've already done it up to 9th of December. So 2.5 weeks left to go. Have a good week. Good luck with your trading. All the best. If you have any questions, queries, drop me a line.